As 2022 draws to a close, I wanted to touch on my top 10 games of all time. So these are going to be my top 10 favorites, what I believe are the best board games of all time, not released in this year, just up until this year. It's a video I do every year, so you can check out last year's up here. There will be a lot of changes. I've played a ton of new games this year. I was actually running an app to keep track, and I think at the 6 month point, I had played 250 games. Maybe almost 300, but that was all tabletop stuff, so there was card games, there was war games and other things. I may go through that in a separate video, as it was a resolution of mine to keep it up. Kept it up half the year, which is good enough. Make sure you drop your favourite board games or any you've played on here, what you liked about them, maybe what you didn't, and maybe alternatives in the comments below. Leave a like if you've been enjoying the tabletop stuff, if any of these videos have been any help to you. And if you're feeling really generous, subscribe. I would love to see you pop in the comments in a few different videos. The reason I make these videos is for the community, it's for the tabletop stuff. I just absolutely adore it. So let's get into this with my number 10, Dice Throne. Dice Throne is something new I played this year. It wasn't even something I planned on playing. A friend who runs the local gaming store Dice Cavern Games in Grantham, we were just sat around and he decided to bust out a game, and it was Dice Throne. I'd never heard of it, I'd never seen it. But playing a game with a friend is always fun, so we jumped into it. It looked good, it had dice, massive plus for me. He took the role of a vampire whilst I was an angel of some kind, which seemed like an unfair matchup considering vampires' disposition for sunlight and all things holy, but we started to fight it out. Basically, you roll dice, try to activate various attacks and abilities to beat your opponent down before they get to you. I decided not to upgrade my abilities and instead saved action points for manipulating dice, which meant I got to use my ultimate ability twice and eventually take the win. From that point on, I was hooked. I absolutely love winning games. Although since I wrote this script, a little addition here, I've played my girlfriend twice. She's beat me comfortably both times. I played a 4-player game in which I came last place. So it swings and roundabouts, it's still a great game. Coming in at number 9, I've gone for Valeria Card Kingdom. I love this game anyway, I love this type of game, where you can't just focus on your own turns, you have to pay attention to the whole game constantly, which makes it more impactful for me. We've all lost focus at points, but this game you cannot afford to. You use dice and buy characters to use abilities from those dice, but you can also activate them for other abilities on other people's turns. It creates a really cool strategy. I've played it 3 times now, I think, every time trying a different strategy, and I think I've maybe won 2-3 times. I think I've won every time I've played it. God, I love winning. I am of course kidding. I couldn't care less about winning. It's just a fun game set in a fantasy world with interesting mechanics. It's hard to find something wrong with this one. In at number 8, I've gone for Small World. This is one of the first ever board games I own and played or even saw. Well, other than like Monopoly and stuff like that, it was a toss-up between Munchkin and this on my list, but I love area control war games, and this one has such a pleasing aesthetic to it, and where it began with the genre in board games for me. So maybe a little biased, but it's my list. You disagree with it? Let me know some good alternatives in the comments. I've actually got a better alternative later in this video as well, so stick around for that. But it's just a fun game. You choose different races and abilities to try and take control and score as many points as possible. It means everyone gets their own missions and way of scoring as you battle it out on the map. The art is incredible, gameplay and objectives are always new and different, offering endless combinations and opportunities. New in at number 7 though, we've got The Thing. We have only played this once so far, but it was a massive hit. The Thing movie is maybe my favourite of all time. It touches on everything great about horror movies, and this game encapsulates that perfectly. You don't know who you can trust, but if you trust no one, you will all succumb to the terrible weather in this isolated location. So eventually you have to. And just trust you won't be assimilated by the alien. Looking friends in their eyes and working out if they are human, and welcome back at any time with open arms, or they're an alien and will never be invited round for games again. This game is a ton of fun with constant decisions making an impact all the way along, but it all leads to a beautiful ending in which whoever has the least suspicion takes control, and you'll have to try and bargain your way onto the helicopter, ultimately the decision going to them. Do you choose to take your friends? Do you leave them behind? Are they human? Are they aliens? Better decide quick, because if the alien doesn't get you, the weather sure will. And if that doesn't get you, the cretin on the helicopter will. I've not been suspicious all game. You can't leave me here. Also new, in at number 6, as I mentioned Small World before, we've gone for Root. Another one we've only tackled once so far, and I do think this is going to shoot up the list after a few more plays. But it's hard to put it any lower because I loved everything about this game. I will say the first time you need to take it with a bigger grain of salt than most board games. There's not only rules for the board game itself, but individual rules for each army. So it's going to be some trial and error, and you're going to have to get used to not only yours, but other people's to see how they win and how you win and try and combat that. But thankfully it offers enough gameplay wise, you can enjoy your first play and maybe develop tactics as you go. The art and components though, my god, they are the best from any game. You get these gorgeous, are they classed as meeples? Animeeples? I don't know what people call these. I assume meeple, it's just got an animal face on. They look amazing and every army gets a selection. The board, whether it's summer or winter, again, is such a homely feel to it. This game definitely invokes a very warming feel, and you fall right into the world. I mentioned, like I say, Small World before having your own playstyle, but this is that tenfold. You will play entirely different to everybody else at the table. One player may have a giant army, another may just have a single pawn as a vagabond, somebody else has boats and merchants selling items, but never really waging war. It's fascinating how it's all balanced. In our first game, we thought making items was a good idea. Literally everyone every turn, which meant the vagabond flew to victory, but everyone else was around the same point before that. Curse you, vagabond. In at number 5, I've gone for Cosmic Encounters. I feel like this is a love or hate type game. If you can look past the unbalance and enjoy it for what it is, which is just an hilarious, all-out space war with silly abilities, races, making for an entertaining and fun game every time. I can't hate this game, I absolutely adore it. You're almost certainly not getting the same alien. No matter how many games you play, I think there's something like 60, maybe even 80 plus in there. There's expansions which add more. It's just endless fun. You will get a cool ability along with your alien race, have cards to help win battles or pull off things that shouldn't really be allowed. Some of the cards are just that. They're unbelievable. They're overpowered. But I love that. It's silly fun that, regardless of balance, is always entertaining and will provide your group with plenty of laughs, arguments, and God knows what else. Another new title, in at number 4, I've gone for Blood Rage. I only initially played this game for the first time this year. I just picked it up, so the theme, the gameplay, everything about this shot it straight into my favorites. I love Vikings, I love Norse mythology, so the theme for this one is perfect. Area control and war games, like I've said, are my favorite genre, so it felt like a no-brainer. You use drafting and cards to set up your strategy, and then focus on placing your army to reap the most benefits in a turn. You can summon huge frost giants, legends of myths such as Valkyrie, and even dwarves. God, I love dwarves. You battle it out to cover yourself in glory, whether by completing quests, killing off your buddies' armies, or dying yourself in the most glorious way possible. It offers a ton of strategic choices and combines a lot of game mechanics I love, making for a well-rounded title. In at number 3, I'm so unsure. I've only just played this, so I played it a ton of times, probably like 6 times already. But because it's so recent, I don't want to put it number 1, but this could easily be number 1. It is Marvel Zombicide, Marvel Zombies Heroes Resistance. Another first time playing it this year as it's only just come out. You've all probably seen the huge Marvel Zombicide release, with hundreds if not thousands of miniatures come into the game. You may also have noticed the thousands it would cost to buy it all and have it sent out. Heroes Resistance solves that problem. You get a board, a handful of Marvel Zombies and hero miniatures, and get to test the game in a much smaller and compact, but most importantly much cheaper, game. It was perfect for me. It, however, does mean I will probably move into the bigger box when it's finally available at retail, but for now, this will satiate my hunger. The theme in this one helps massively. Marvel is generally one of my favorites, but Marvel Zombies is the best of the best for me. It mixes my love of superheroes and horror in one of the best Marvel stories put to page. Gameplay is different every time, and the randomness actually adds something for me, feeling very much like that horror movie of never knowing what's around the corner. Number 2, of course it had to be. I had it as my honourable mention last year. It's Mansions of Madness. Now, Betrayal at House on the Hill was my favourite last year. Mansions of Madness is just an upgraded, more oozing in theme and story version of that game. And I'm all about those things. So this immediately grabbed me. It's one we've only played a few times, but it's a game if I had my way, I would have it out more times. It's a game, if anyone asks what I want to play, I'm going to pick out this or Nemesis. The thing is that I'm sort of giving away number one there. But we'll get to it. We've also got an honourable mention, so stick around. But yeah, it just touches on horror, it touches on story. It's sort of dungeon crawly in the way you flip tiles and explore rooms. There's puzzles. I love puzzles. I love like murder mystery type things. This game just encapsulates everything I love in a Cthulhu-based world. I haven't yet picked up an expansion for it either, so I've just been playing the base game. I'm very excited to get an expansion because they add some really cool miniatures, as well as other tiles and other story you can play into. It's why I enjoy this so much. There is so much. It's very expensive, I will say that, but there is so much in the box. You're going to get so many hours of fun from this game. Some of the games are like 4-6 hours long, so if you're not interested in that, maybe not the game for you, but there are smaller versions. There's just so much to love for this. I could spend hours playing this and have. Like I mentioned last year, or every year I do this list, I try to include a prediction for the following year as my honourable mention. So in this one, I'm trying to it could have been Dune for me. Dune, I think it's War of Arrakis, which is like a area control war game coming out next year. I will no doubt pick that up because it ticks a lot of boxes, as you can see in my list. But this year, I'm actually going to go for Mice and Mystics. It's almost like Dungeons and Dragons in a board game, except you're mice. You play for a story with friends fighting off creatures like spiders and cockroaches in this small world adventure. I do have it. I do have the miniatures painted, but I haven't got it to the table yet. I am very excited to do so. But I've already given it away. You can probably guess by some of my videos on this channel. Number one could only be one thing, and that is Nemesis. I am losing track how many videos I actually gush about this game. Like I just mentioned, it's got its own game. I mentioned it in the horror games. It's always my top choice. It deserves a prize. If you don't know what this game is, and by chance you've not seen it on the channel, the best way I can describe it is the movie Alien in board game form. It hits the closest to what you expect from that movie. It covers the tension and the worry of having traitors in your midst and not knowing who to trust. It's such an interesting game. I absolutely love playing this one. Everyone has their own objective. They're going around a ship, but you can't worry about everyone else because you're also being chased by aliens. It creates the best stories, it creates the best moments, and at the end of the day, that's what we're all trying to create when we play these board games. But that's my list. If you think I've missed any, you think any games I might enjoy, like I say, drop them in the comments below. More than happy to try them as well. That is all I've got for this episode though. I don't know when this is going out. It's definitely after Halloween. If it's close to Christmas, Merry Christmas. I will be doing some kind of Christmas thing at some point. So hopefully I see you on the channel. If not, I will catch you in the next one.